When I was in basic training, there was a lot of racism that was present. And maybe not everyone felt that way, but they also didn't necessarily step up to stop it. And my battle buddy in the bunk, kind of diagonal to mine, faced a lot of that. And there were a lot of things that went on. But I knew that it was tied to that, right? That sense of prejudice, I guess, is probably the best word. The point in time I thought of it more as hate, but they, in one situation, took the metal weapons rack where we store our M4s when we're not carrying them. So they scratched into the metal weapons rack over top of our weapon, the N-word, and then numerous other slurs over mine. And figured that we would see it, but that nobody else would catch it. During one of the surprise inspections for that bay in the barracks, one of the drill sergeants discovered that. And so they immediately called this other service member and me into the office and said, "What is this?" Which only added insult to injury, or injury to insult, whichever way you want to look at it, because it was both at the same time, right? There's no comfortable way to approach that. You know that these are the people that you're supposed to have to your left and right. These are the people that are supposed to have your six, as they say, and yet this, and why? And there was never a point where I had fallen out of formation or failed an event or couldn't do the run or couldn't pass me. No, I'd done all of those things. And I think that maybe if they had felt like I was less than in my performance, maybe it wouldn't have been so much of a threat. And in that sense, they didn't like it, because it was true also for the black service member that I had diagonal to my bunk. Same thing. It wasn't that he was a slacker by any stretch. He had performed every bit as much as they had, but there was certainly that prejudice, and we certainly both felt it in many occasions and various ways, that they would damage your things, or that they would make sure that your personal items in your locker were different or messed up, or any number of pieces like that. So I think it is a fair assessment to say, but I also think I would say in that situation, the thing that was most powerful to me within that was the reaction that our senior drill sergeant had. And when he came back, I will never forget, he had called everyone to what they call the kill zone. It's this marked out painted section in the center of the bay. And you never step on the kill zone, right? Like, that is one of those things you just don't do. But when they say toe the line, everybody lines up by section on that box, on that painted box in the center of the bay. And everybody was supposed to toe the line. And he told him, he said, "You are the best rotation I've had. You have helped me drop my run time to the fastest run time I've ever had in the Army." At that point in time, I think he was going through air assault school, if I remember correctly, when, also being the senior drill sergeant for our section. We had won numerous platoon competitions against the other platoons. And he said, "You've done all these great things, and then you ruin it with this." And he was disgusted. And at one point you turn around and you could see that he had a tear streaming down, streaming down his face, and you knew that at that point that it was a much deeper thing to him, and that he didn't feel the same way about it that other people did. And so I guess what I'll leave it with is that about 4 years later, I, during a ceremony at Fort Hood, crossed paths with that former drill sergeant of mine. Had no idea that he would be at that ceremony. And when he walked out to me, he's like, "Merrill, you're here." He's like, "I'm so glad to see you're still in the Army." And I think that he was kind of stunned that somebody would survive all of that and then decide, yes, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep serving. So that was really neat to see him several years later.